You've been planning this trip for 7 weeks. That's the part nobody understands later. How deliberate it was. How careful you thought you were. You bought the tent on sale at REI, a Passage 2 for $149. You watched 11 YouTube videos on bear canisters, food hanging, campsite selection. You printed a trail map and laminated it. You told your friend Marco you'd be at Granite Lake, solo, 4 nights. You even bought the $42 can of counter-assault bear spray and clipped it to your belt on the drive up, practicing the draw like a quick-draw cowboy in a parking lot off Highway 89. You are 29 years old. You work remotely doing UX design for a company in Austin that doesn't care where you sit, as long as you ship screens by Thursday. You earn $78,000. You live in a 1-bedroom in Sacramento. You haven't taken a real vacation in 2 years, and your therapist, $180 a session, insurance covers half, told you to spend more time outside. Disconnect. Be present. So here you are, being present, 6,200 feet up in the emigrant wilderness. And the first day is perfect. The kind of perfect that makes you believe every decision you've ever made was leading to this clearing by the water. You set up camp 100 yards from the lake. You filter water. You cook freeze-dried pad thai on a jet boil and eat it straight from the pouch, watching the light go copper and then purple over the granite. You hang your food bag from a branch 15 feet up using the PCT method. Cord over a limb, counterbalance. You brush your teeth 50 yards from the tent. You do everything right. You are doing everything right. The first night, you hear something move through the brush around 2 a.m. Heavy, slow. You lie still inside the tent and hold your breath and listen to your pulse in your ears, and the sound moves away. In the morning, there's nothing. No tracks you can identify, no scat. You tell yourself it was a deer, probably a deer. You eat oatmeal and pack a day bag and hike 3 miles to a ridge where you can see 4 counties and feel like the last person on earth. You take a photo for Marco. You take a photo for your Instagram. You take a photo for yourself, which is just standing there without the phone, eyes open, breathing. Day 2. You catch 2 rainbow trout on a panther martin spinner you've carried in your vest for 3 years without ever using it. You feel like a god. You clean the fish on a flat rock by the lake and cook them in foil with lemon pepper packets from the dollar store. The guts and skin you carry 200 yards downstream and toss into moving water. You wash your hands with biodegradable soap. You are meticulous. You are prepared. You are also leaving a scent trail a half-mile wide, and you don't know it. The thing about bears is that every piece of advice you read assumes a version of the encounter that is clean and manageable. The bear appears at a distance. You make noise. The bear reconsiders. You deploy spray in a controlled burst at 20 feet. The bear turns. In the videos, there is always time. Time to react, time to assess, time to remember the steps. Identify the species. Black bear, stand tall, make noise, fight back. Grizzly, play dead, protect your neck, don't run. The advice is excellent. The advice is useless. Third morning, Wednesday. You wake up at 5:47 a.m. because the tent wall is pressing inward against your face. Not wind. Something solid is pushing against the nylon 2 inches from your nose, and the smell hits you before the sound does. Wet dog, rotten fruit, something thick and biological that fills the tent like a gas. You don't move. You stop breathing. The pressure releases. You hear a huff, low and guttural, a sound that vibrates in your sternum, and then the crunch of footsteps circling the tent. Heavy, deliberate, not hurried. Your bear spray is clipped to the outside of your pack. Your pack is in the vestibule. You can see the shape through the mesh, 3 feet from your right hand, but the zipper is loud and the shape outside is close. You calculate. You calculate again. You lie perfectly still and listen to something the size of a refrigerator breathe 8 feet from your skull. It leaves. You know it leaves because the birds come back. You didn't notice they'd stopped, but now they're singing again, and the silence before was total. The forest, holding its breath, the way you were holding yours. You wait 20 minutes. You unzip the tent with hands that take 3 tries to work the pull tab. You step out into gray light and see the food bag on the ground, cord chewed through, everything scattered. Oatmeal packets torn open. A Ziploc of trail mix destroyed. The bag of garbage you'd sealed in 2 layers of odor-proof plastic, shredded, contents spread in a 10-foot radius. You should leave. You know you should leave. The campsite is compromised. A bear that gets food comes back for more. This is in every guide, every video, every warning posted at the trailhead. A fed bear is a dead bear, and a fed bear that returns is a danger. You know this. You stay. You stay because the trailhead is 7 miles, and you'd lose the last 2 days of the trip, and you paid $38 for the permit, and you're finally sleeping well for the first time in months. And leaving feels like surrendering to fear, and your therapist said you need to stop letting anxiety dictate your choices. You construct a logic that sounds responsible. You'll move the campsite a 1/4 mile. You'll double down on food storage. You'll keep the spray on your belt at all times. You'll be louder, more visible, more present. You've got this. You are making every wrong decision with perfect confidence. You move camp. You set up on a flat bench above the lake with good sight lines. You hang what's left of your food using paracord and a carabiner from a thinner branch, higher this time. You clap your hands and sing while you cook dinner. Rice and beans from a pouch. You eat fast and clean up fast and stash everything in the bear canister you should have used from the start instead of the hanging method. You put the canister 100 yards from the tent. You put the spray in the tent vestibule, unclipped, safety off. You lie down at 8:30 p.m. and do not sleep. At 11:20 p.m., you hear it. Not the brush this time. The canister. A hard plastic scraping sound against rock. And then a low woof. And then a crack that sounds like a baseball bat hitting a watermelon. You sit up. You grab the spray. You unzip the tent and shine your headlamp into the dark. And the beam catches 2 eyes 40 yards out, reflective green. And they don't move. They don't blink. You yell. You bang the pot against the jet boil canister. The eyes watch you. Then they drop, and you hear the canister being dragged across granite, and the sound gets quieter, and then it's gone. You stand outside the tent for 45 minutes holding the spray can with both hands. Your legs are shaking so badly, you sit down on a rock and press your knees together to stop the vibration. The temperature is 38 degrees. You're wearing a base layer and socks. You go back to the tent and you don't sleep. Thursday, 6:15 a.m. You're packing. You're leaving. The decision is made. You stuff the sleeping bag without rolling it. Shove the pad in sideways. Collapse the tent poles with your hands still clumsy from cold and adrenaline. You're moving fast because moving fast feels like control. You hoist the pack onto your back and clip the sternum strap and take 1 step toward the trail. The bear is on the trail, 70 feet, maybe 60. A black bear, which should make you feel better. And it does not. It's big, 300 pounds, maybe more, shoulders rolling as it shifts its weight, head low, nose working. It's not charging. It's not fleeing. It's looking at you the way you'd look at a vending machine, deciding if you're worth the effort. You remember the steps. You raise your arms to look bigger. You speak in a firm, low voice. "Hey, bear. Go on. Get out of here." Your voice cracks on the second sentence, and the bear's ears flatten and it pops its jaw, a sound like a stapler, and takes one step forward. The spray. You pull it from the holster. Thumb the safety. Aim low because the fog rises. 20 feet is effective range, and the bear is at 60, then 50, and it's not charging. It's walking, which is worse somehow because a charge has a script, and this is just an animal closing distance with zero urgency. 40 feet, 35. You press the trigger. The orange cloud blooms in the still morning air and drifts forward, and the bear walks through it. Walks through it. The spray hits its face, and it shakes its head and snorts and pauses, and you think it's working, it's turning, and then it doesn't turn. It stands up. On its hind legs. The bear is over 6 feet tall, and you understand for the first time in your life what a wild animal is. Not the thing in the videos, not the thing in the national park at a distance, tourists snapping photos. This is 400 pounds of muscle and bone and teeth standing upright in the space between you and the rest of your life. And there is no one within 7 miles who can hear you scream. It drops and charges. Not a bluff. You know it's not a bluff because bluff charges stop, and this doesn't stop. You spray again, and the can sputters. You've used more than half on the first burst, and the bear hits you in the chest like a car. The ground comes up fast. Your pack absorbs part of the impact, and you roll. And the bear is on you, and the weight is beyond anything your body has a reference for. A paw pins your shoulder. You feel the claws go through the jacket, through the base layer, into the meat of your deltoid. Not pain at first, pressure, heat, like someone pressing a hot iron into your skin. Then the teeth close on your forearm, and the pain arrives all at once, absolute, and you scream something that isn't a word. You fight. Black bear, fight back. The one rule you remember. You punch it in the nose with your free hand. You gouge at its eyes. You kick. The bear releases your arm and bites your thigh, shaking its head the way a dog shakes a toy, and you feel the muscle tear. And something inside your leg goes wrong in a way that you know immediately is serious. You grab a rock. You don't remember picking it up. You hit the bear in the skull and it pulls back. You hit it again. Again. Your arm is spraying blood in arcs across the granite, and you're screaming and hitting, and the bear releases your leg and steps back and looks at you. Just looks. And then it turns and walks into the trees. You're on the ground. You're bleeding from your left arm, your right shoulder, your left thigh. The thigh is the worst. You can see something white inside the wound that might be fascia or might be bone, and you look away and pull the belt from your pants with hands that are slippery with blood, and cinch it around your upper thigh and pull until the flow slows. Your phone has no signal. It hasn't had signal since the trailhead. You crawl. The trail is 7 miles. You're not going to crawl 7 miles. You know this. But you crawl because the alternative is lying still, and lying still means bleeding out on a granite bench at 6,200 feet, where nobody will find you until Marco calls the ranger station Saturday morning. You make it 400 yards in 90 minutes. Every movement reopens the thigh wound. The arm has gone numb, which you know is bad. Your vision is narrowing. The trees look farther away than they are. At 8:40 a.m., a couple from Stockton on their way to the lake finds you face down on the trail in a pool of blood that's soaked into the dirt in a circle 3 feet wide. The woman screams. The man drops his pack and kneels beside you and presses his flannel shirt against your thigh, while his wife runs back toward the trailhead, where she gets signal a mile later and calls 911. The helicopter takes you to a trauma center in Modesto. 47 stitches in the arm, 80 in the thigh, 3 tendons reattached, a surgery to clean the wound because bear mouths carry bacteria that will kill you slower than the bleeding, but just as dead. You spend 9 days in the hospital. The bill is $94,000 before insurance. Your therapist visits. She brings flowers and a card that says, "Thinking of you," in gold script. She doesn't say anything about being present or spending time outside. She sits in the plastic chair by the bed and holds your good hand, and you both look out the window at the parking lot 4 stories below, where someone is loading groceries into a Camry just like yours, and neither of you says a word. 6 months later, you can walk without the cane. The scars are thick and pink and pull when you stretch. You don't go outside much. You work from the couch now. You order groceries. You watch videos of other people hiking trails you'll never walk again. And sometimes in the comments, someone asks about bears, and someone else links a video about bear spray and food hanging and proper campsite selection. And you watch a 24-year-old in a North Face jacket demonstrate the PCT method. Cord over a limb, counterbalance, and she's smiling, and she's prepared, and she's sure she's doing everything right.